Good evening, you're watching The Buck Stops Here and I'm Barkha Dutt. On the program this evening, Sanjay Dutt may have the last word on the debate surrounding whether he deserves mercy or whether he's just being shown the benign eye of instinctive elitism. That's right, Sanjay Dutt has broken his silence and also broke down on national television as he announced that he would not be asking for any pardon, even though he argued that there were many others who had been convicted who perhaps could be shown some mercy. Sitting by his sister Priya Dutt, it was a short press conference that ended in tears, leading many to ask why Justice Katju and certain other public figures are still pushing for mercy, still asking for pardon for him. Are they doing the actor more harm than helping him? That's what we'll be looking at on the program today, as we also look at the stories of other families who say if he can be shown this mercy, what about us? Do remember that this was a 20-year shadow from 1993 to 2013, 2 long decades before justice could be served, and some are asking whether justice has been served at all. Saurabh Gupta and Rashmi Rajput bring you this special report on the day's dramatic developments.
I just with folded hands want to tell the media, the honorable citizens of my country and the senior media people is that when I'm not going for a pardon, then there is no debate about it. Right now, I'm a shattered man. My family is shattered. It's very, very tough times in my life, in our lives.
An emotionally overwhelmed Sanjay Dutt breaking his silence and speaking out for the first time at his residence here in Pali Hill since the Apex Court sentenced him to 5 years of imprisonment in the 1993 Bombay bomb blast case.
His body language tense, his voice shaky, the nervousness quite apparent. He even broke down into the arms of his sister, Priya Dutt, while making an emotional speech. Even as Sanjay Dutt tried to end the speculations on his next move, the clamour for Sanjay's pardon only got louder.
I think that shows the caliber of the man. You know, we talk about him as Munna Bhai and all that, but in a sense, he comes from a family where honor is very important. You know, his father and his mother were both people who stood for something in society. And I salute Sanjay if that's what he said. I will not ask for a pardon.
The man who started it all, Justice Markandey Katju, the press council chairman, says he won't give up and now will also take up the case of another convict, Zebu Nisa.
I am going to apply for pardon to President and to Governor because I think he and Zebu Nisa both deserve pardon.
While Sanjay decided not to appeal for pardon, Zebu Nisa Kazi, who was charged for a similar offence and sentenced for 5-year imprisonment under TADA, has made an appeal asking for pardon.
She's totally shattered. 70 years of age is too much, you know. I mean, to put her behind bars. And she's innocent. For 20 years, she's already been punished. She's already suffered with that sword hanging on her head, you know, कि कल क्या होगा, कल क्या होगा, कल क्या होगा.
But is Sanjay Dutt's decision prompted by the political hot potato the issue has become, with political parties taking stands for or against his pardon? Or is it a move to ensure that family does not have to go through what Sunil Dutt faced as a politician trying to get his son out of jail?
When I got bail, Congress was not in power. When I was rearrested, Congress was in power. I mean, now, if they valued my father so much, they could have, I'm not saying helped me, at least they could have loved me a little bit.
People close to Sanjay Dutt also say that he doesn't want his family to suffer in any way now.
Sanjay Dutt knows how his father was humiliated, although in spite of the fact that he was a union minister, we are trying to emphasize that how much price he has already paid all these years.
Sanjay Dutt may have decided not to appeal for a pardon but that decision after Justice Katju's plea will be taken by the governor here at the Raj Bhavan. And Sanjay Dutt could be out of jail before his sentence ends if the governor decides in his favor.
But probably the most bizarre contradiction of the case is what happens to the gangster Abu Salem. While the man who got the gun is sentenced to 5 years, the man who gave the gun is likely to get away with a punishment lighter than most other convicts. According to the extradition treaty with Portugal, Abu Salem cannot be given death sentence or a term for more than 25 years. So while 30 convicts will spend the rest of their lives in jail, Abu Salem, even if convicted, will walk out after 25 years. As of now, even his trial remains stayed by the Supreme Court. With Rashmi Rajput and Saurav Gupta in Mumbai, Rahul Srivastava for NDTV.
So actor Sanjay Dutt breaks his silence and also breaks down on national television, but asserts that he is not asking for a pardon. That would, one would think, settle the debate, except that those who have been advocating for mercy to Sanjay Dutt are saying that they will press ahead anyway. Chief among them, the Press Council Chairman and former Supreme Court Judge Justice Katju. On the program today, we ask whether a certain emotionalism is now clouding the word of law. Also, are those who are advocating for Sanjay Dutt in fact hurting him and denting his public goodwill rather than helping him? Or is there something to be said for the fact that when a verdict comes 20 years after an event takes place, in this case the 93 blast that killed 257 people, then the value of that justice is to be questioned. Let's introduce our panel now. Joining us on the program, Justice Markandey Katju, Chairman of the Press Council of India and also former Judge of the Supreme Court of India. Also joining us in the program, Shekhar Gupta, Editor-in-Chief of the Indian Express. Joining us from Mumbai today is film director, well-known commentator Mahesh Bhatt. Also joining us, Justice R.S. Sodhi, a former judge with the Delhi High Court. And joining us from Mumbai tonight, the daughter of somebody who has been convicted in the 93 blasts as well, the daughter of Zebunisa Kazi, who's saying, if there is so much attention on Sanjay Dutt, what about my mother? She's 71 years old. Why is no one talking about her? Let me start with you, Justice Katju. We saw Sanjay Dutt sitting with his sister Priya Dutt making a statement that many would say he should have made from day one, that he respects the verdict, he accepts it, he's ready to go back to jail to serve the remaining portion of his sentence. He's already served 18 months and he is not asking for pardon. Yet minutes after that, you took the position that even if Sanjay Dutt is not asking for pardon, you will continue to press for pardon for him, not just with the governor of Maharashtra, but even with the President and the Prime Minister. Some would say that you as a Supreme Court judge are making a mockery of the judicial process that it was your job to uphold for the many years that you served on the bench.
See, firstly, let me tell you that Article 72 of the Constitution, which gives the President of India the right to grant pardon, does not say who can appeal for pardon. So I have also the right to appeal for pardon, and maybe Sanjay Dutt had become emotional and he is very upset naturally, so that is why he may have made the statement. I don't know, he never spoke to me about that. But I feel, you see, apart from the judicial process, which I respect, I am from the judiciary, so he has not been found to be a terrorist, but he has been found in possession of a prohibited weapon. Though in paragraph 70 of the Supreme Court judgment, Supreme Court has said that he had those weapons for self-defense, not for terrorist activity. That is a specific finding of the Supreme Court in paragraph 70 of the judgment.
That's right. He's been convicted under the Arms Act, Justice Katju, and therefore he's been convicted under the Arms Act.
Yes. He has been convicted under the Arms Act and rightly convicted under the Arms Act, and the Supreme Court had no option but to give at least the minimum of the sentence, which was 5 years. But apart from the judicial process, there is another process called the pardon process, which is a constitutional process, and even after conviction, the President can grant pardon even if the person has not served the minimum sentence. That the consideration for the pardon are very different from the considerations of the judicial process. So in this case, I thought that Sanjay Dutt has suffered enough. He has spent 18 months in jail. He has, after being released on bail for 5-6 years, it took him to restore his career because he was almost ostracized for 5-6 years. He could not get any film roles because producers would not come to him, thinking he may again have to go to jail and the film may remain incomplete. He could not get bank loans. He could not go abroad even after his career was restored by this Munna Bhai film and all. He had to take permission of court every time to go abroad. Yes, and he has had, he's married and got children. So on humanitarian considerations, he should be granted pardon.